when that was happening, there were 12 roster spots per team and 12 teams. That's like not a lot of players.
No. 144. That's some quick math for you.
Wow.
Yeah.
Lucy!
It's like wrong. Okay. Hey guys. Welcome back to the pre-wrap, episode 5.
Episode 5.
Catherine's still not here, and we're still in this too, but only for one more week.
Only for one more week.
Next week, everything will be normal.
After this week, it's going to be so much better.
Yeah, back in the more glamorous stew.
Gorgeous.
And Catherine will be back, so don't fret.
Yeah, no fretting. Everyone calm down.
Fans. It's okay. Okay, so today is a different type of episode. It's kind of it's something that Sydney's been noticing. It's been percolating in her mind, and she's going to give us, you and me both, a deep dive today. We're all going to be enlightened, and hopefully it provokes some thought. So listeners, I'm with you, and I'm going to be enlightened with you. So
yeah, well,
take it away.
Thank you for that introduction. It was really expertly done, if I have to say so.
Thank you.
So yeah, this is kind of, we're doing a special episode for episode 5. Different kind of thing. We're not going to be talking about any games this week, even though I'm sure we're taping it early, so I'm sure there's going to be some awesome games. But
we'll be back with that next week.
Yeah. But this episode is going to be a little bit different because I wanted to talk about how women's basketball kind of exists in the larger cultural zeitgeist. So Lucy is like the perfect audience for this for me because we're both longtime fans of this league, specifically the WNBA, and women's college basketball. And we've really, in the last few years, have watched it go from a niche product to a national phenomenon. Yeah. Like the sport has grown exponentially since I first started watching. I really started closely following the W in the Wubble season, which we've talked about, like between you and I, which is just like, it's crazy to think about now.
Wubble.
But so for today's episode, I want to talk about how the growth of women's basketball is impacting the culture around and within it. And I particularly wanted to zero in on politics and the fan experience. So
nice.
For this episode, I decided I was going to pick a sort of case study. And so today we're going to be taking it back, all the way back.
Oh, okay.
To spring of 2024.
Okay. I'm ready.
It's the conference realignment.
Okay.
And a big name hits the transfer portal.
What's that name, Sydney?
Reagan Beers. I know. Okay, so Reagan Beers. She is a 6'4" center, transferred from Oregon State University during conference realignment. So OSU opted not to move into a Power 4 conference. They were in the Pac-12. And Beers announced after it was made clear that they were not going into a Power 4 conference, she announced that she was entering the transfer portal on April 11th, 2024. Okay. So I'm sure you remember, but just to give some context, this was a big deal in the women's college basketball world. She had a really successful season in the Pac-12 at Oregon State. She had averaged 17.5 points per game the previous season, so she was just touted as a highly sought-after recruit, and the fact that she entered the transfer portal was pretty widely reported on. So when she entered the transfer portal, she was reported to be looking at UConn and Oklahoma. Now, we don't know if there were more schools in the mix, but the reason why people thought she was looking at UConn, do you remember this?
I need you to jog my memory.
Almost every single member of UConn's women's basketball team followed her on Instagram.
Okay. Yeah.
So
I'm with you.
So during this time, fans on Twitter especially began scouring her online accounts to try to figure out where she was going to decide to go.
Yeah.
And in that process, a lot of screenshots began popping up online.
As they do.
So some of those screenshots were of players who recently followed her. And then some of those screenshots were of her following other users.
Okay.
And some of them were not in the basketball world. A lot of screenshots started popping up online of her following a number of right-wing political figures and media personalities. So specifically, I think I can say for a fact that she was following Candace Owens and Charlie Kirk. So at this point, just for the sake of keeping this current, I don't want to report on something that was years ago and not follow up on it now. She, at this point, she still follows Charlie Kirk and Candace Owens. And from what I could tell, I couldn't see specifically any other right-wing media personalities except for, and I have to include this, Lee Allen Baker.
That's crazy.
Who
that's
is
like
the mom from Good Luck Charlie.
Who's become like
turned conservative
like,
social
vocal.
media.
Right. Like that's
influencer.
A deep cut, honestly. Like if you're like you're deep in like, I don't know, conservative influencer.
I guess. Like, I think like depending on the circle that you're in, Lee Allen Baker maybe
she's a really big Good Luck Charlie fan, to be honest.
Front of mind that I know she was a really big Lee Allen Baker. I know speaks very vocally on her Instagram about being a really big Charlie Kirk fan. She kind of came into the light during COVID.
Yeah. I remember.
It was a lot of anti-mask stuff, a lot of anti-vax stuff. That's kind of
Amy
what
Duncan.
That's what kind of spurred her emergence into the alt-right media ecosystem. Okay. So at this point, those are three influencers that I feel like I know that people might know who she's following.
Yeah.
Okay. So based on this, fans began to speculate that maybe perhaps UConn wouldn't be a good fit. And that she would transfer to Oklahoma instead. I want to say that this had nothing to do with basketball. This was purely what people perceived her politics were.
Right. Some speculation.
Yeah. Compared to what they perceived UConn players' politics were. It had nothing to do with basketball.
Yeah.
So obviously we do not know the exact reasons why she transferred, but April 29th, 2024, so pretty soon after, Beers announces her transfer to Oklahoma. So I did see on a podcast where she talked about how the power of prayer played a really significant role in her decision process. She's very open about being a devout Christian. And that being said, I don't really think it's fair to like read too much into that statement because I think a lot of players say that regardless of their politics. And so it's more so just that those are two concurring facts. Okay. Advocacy for banning trans women from playing
under
sports.
the guise of like protecting quote unquote women in sports.
Protecting women in sports. So this is a frequent character on Peyton Verhulst's reposts. I do want to say the last thing she reposted anything that referenced politics on Twitter was November 9th of 2024. So since the election, she's really kind of winded down or wound down, whichever. And overall, generally, I think it's fair to say she's just become less active on Twitter altogether.
Yeah.
I did also look at her TikTok.
Okay.
Because I'm
a deep dive. You were deep
I
into
did
social media.
Yeah, I did
trenches.
this is investigative journalism
Yeah.
kind of type, there are many political reposts on there, and the last I saw was or on her TikTok was October 17th of 2025.
Okay, so that's pretty that's recent.
That's pretty recent.
Yeah.
That's within the last, now it's.
And I feel like sometimes a lot
months.
of players kind of go off social media for like the season. So I mean, it's
possible.
It could coincide. Yeah, her just not being on TikTok as frequently.
Yeah. So the reason I bring that date up, October 17th, is the day before, on October 16th, Beers and Verhulst were seen attending a Turning Point USA event at Oklahoma University.
Wait, I remember that.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. And this was something, these videos circulated really widely online. This was a month after Charlie Kirk was assassinated at Utah Valley University.
Yeah.
Okay, so first of all, any thoughts, any reactions, any questions that I can answer? Like,
I mean, you're giving I feel like I'm being enlightened right now. I'm sure all the listeners agree with me. It's just like the recency of it. Because sometimes, people like before they came to college or before, I don't know, they maybe their social media like footprint doesn't really reflect where they are today, but hers is clearly up to date with her. And yeah, I remember her appearance at the Turning Point event with Reagan Beers. I feel like we talked about it when it happened. And that's just like a very public display of like a public show of support. And so I think like she's clearly fine with people talking about like knowing where she stands on these issues. And like, it's not like, I don't feel like we're not talking about something here where it's like, oh, like she's being exposed for like these tweets that she had. Like she's very like outward about it all. Like she clearly is like proud of what she believes, and she's kind of standing 10 toes down on it. So that's just like another interesting like aspect of it. Like just how public she is and how much she doesn't care if people know that these are her beliefs.
Yeah. So this is a good point. And I also think like this is a reason why I want to talk about it, is because I feel like in the past, when people were looking through Reagan Beers' social media accounts and finding these things, there were, the screenshots were popping up on social media and people were reacting to them. I feel like, even as public as it is being a college athlete, I think it's one thing to have an online footprint excavated and kind of pulled up. I think it's another thing to show like in-person public support for a cause.
Yeah.
And in terms of Verhulst, like Peyton's the political content that I've seen on her page is pretty sprawling in scope.
Like, you mean in terms of what types of, you mean all under like this conservative umbrella, just in different topics within that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I think she has.
Like, what are some examples? Like, do you remember from your deep dive?
I don't. I feel like I want to be. I don't know. People like can look and see for themselves if they want. A lot of it is a lot of very pointed anti-feminist critiques,
while also being anti-trans under the guise of protecting women's
I guess.
Sports?
Yeah.
Interesting.
So a lot of protecting women's sports content from like anti-trans organizations, a lot of very particular content about how feminism is bad for women, a lot of stuff about loving Donald Trump, a lot of pro-gun content.
So just really everything.
So she's
right.
She has something to say about a lot of stuff, and a lot of it really falls under this umbrella that I feel like you've kind of outlined. Okay. People can look at it themselves. I'm not going to get into the nitty-gritty arguments, but I feel like she would not, she would be like, yeah.
Yeah,
I feel
clearly
like
she's publicly reposting.
Okay, so I'll add. This is what her public-facing social media accounts look like, and according to Charlie Baker, who's the NCAA president, 500,000. There are over 500,000 student athletes
attending NCAA
division.
School,
and
schools. Fewer than 10 are transgender.
So this is
this is just I think important context. I guess it's my opinion that it's just really a non-issue, but just statistically speaking, it's such an insignificant number that to me, it's just
it's an outsized reaction.
It is. It's fear mongering at the expense of one of the most vulnerable communities in our country.
People.
Right.
Under 10 people.
Yeah.
Okay. So I feel like that was important context to
Yes.
Okay. So back to October 16th, 2025. Both Reagan Beers and Peyton Verhulst were interviewed by Oklahoma University's student newspaper, the OU Daily. And I'm going to read to you the excerpt where they're featured. Okay.
All right.
A number of notable community members attended the event, including OU's women's basketball center, Reagan Beers, and senior guard Peyton Verhulst. Beers was named the preseason All-SEC first team on Monday. Verhulst said the event is something she has always aligned with belief-wise. Quote, "It's really important that no matter your status, it's important to do and go to places where you're really strong in beliefs," Verhulst said. "This is an amazing opportunity to do that and meet people," end quote. Beers said that though the event aligns with what she personally believes in, freedom of speech is also important to her, which she said Turning Point USA promotes. Quote, "It's important, especially in this day and age, to allow people to talk about what they want to talk about, no matter what side you're on," Beers said. "Obviously, the event aligns a lot with my opinions as well, but having that freedom of speech is really important," end quote. Verhulst said she was most excited to hear different viewpoints she may not have heard before. Beers said she looked forward to hearing in person what she has seen on social media, but also forming her own opinions on what was discussed in the event. Quote, "Fostering your own beliefs and what your opinion is, whether you agree with everything that they say or not, and being able to have the opportunity to come and listen to people like that is going to be exciting," Beers said, end quote.
Yeah, the statements, it's okay. It's not like the last quote, I don't know, fostering your own belief and your own opinion, you're not going to agree with everything. It's kind of just a vague, in theory, out of context, that statement, yeah, true. I agree. You should foster your own opinion and whatever. But in the context of you're at a Turning Point USA event, which is extremely, I don't know, inflammatory. Yeah, literally.
So, yeah, that's what I wrote down. These are super vanilla statements that were made at a Turning Point USA event.
Right.
So I was I don't know how many times I could say that about some of the things that are said at Turning Point USA events. Yeah. But in this case, I feel like these are pretty vanilla statements.
I also feel they're clearly being publicly outspoken about it. It's not they're hiding that they were there. They're proud to be there.
They're proud to be there.
Speaking to the student.
Okay.
Shout out student journalism.
Shout out student journalism. Okay, so all of this caused a firestorm on social media. Obviously.
Naturally.
We know how Twitter works.
Yes. Oh my, and WNBA.
WNBA Twitter really loves to, Vogue Basketball Twitter is very vocal. So a lot of people had a lot to say about it. Yeah. A lot of the criticism came from what I could see a place of shock.
Yeah, definitely.
And this is where I think kind of my own analysis comes into this. I think a lot of fans are used to seeing the W in women's basketball more widely as kind of a unified front in a lot of its activism.
Like what we talked about last ep.
Yeah, yeah. Like I said, like last episode, we spent a short time kind of reviewing the history of activism in the league, especially in 2016 and 2020.
Yeah.
And for a long time, and in those seasons, I think the thing that's important to say, especially about the fan experience, is that the W was a very niche, somewhat insulated league. And that led to a very protected fan experience. I think I feel comfortable saying that the WNBA fan base now, but even more so before Caitlin Clark tilts left politically.
Yeah, definitely.
But now there are so many more eyes on this league.
Yeah.
And with more eyes comes with a greater variety of backgrounds and political affiliations. And so I feel like we've seen this a lot in the last few years. Women's basketball is becoming more mainstream, and suddenly WNBA Twitter is really deeply confused about how maybe some newcomers to the league are reacting to specific teams or specific players. And I feel like this is where I think it's fair to bring up the Indiana Fever. And I think the Fever is often seen as kind of an avatar for conservatism. And it seems like longtime fans and newer fans and potentially even some players fall into that.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even think, and when I say fall into that, I don't even mean that like there are players on the Indiana Fever who they're not like, I'm not putting them in the same category as like a Verholster, Reagan Beers. Like, they're not going to Turning Point USA events. They're not speaking out about right-wing politics. But more broadly, I don't think they're really speaking about politics.
Yeah, which creates like an avenue for these maybe fans or like conservative squad to kind of come in and create that narrative around them.
And I think there's a whole other conversation of like what the right avenue is for those
athletes.
players.
Yeah. Especially ones with like huge platforms like Caitlin. Like
Caitlin Clark. Right. Like and that's not really the conversation I'm trying to have right now. I think that's a whole other episode.
Another episode.
Like how effective it is to
only respond to when asked about.
Yeah. I think, and like Caitlin in particular is very PR trained.
She's not very like on social media.
No.
So she's not like a huge personality.
No, she's very PR trained, and she's not like when she sits for interviews, it's after she plays basketball.
Yes, yeah.
And she wants to talk about the game.
Yeah.
And you know what? Like, that's her prerogative.
Yeah.
But I think because fans are so used to players taking on this role, it's kind of confusing for them. More so the long-term fans than the newer fans. Okay. So that being said, when it comes to Verhulst and Beers, a lot of the criticism I see from fans kind of goes along the lines of like, just wait till you get to the league. Like, they won't have any of that when you get there. Or you say you want to be in the WNBA. Well, like, just wait. Like, they don't want you
have
because
to be liberal
you're
to play in the WNBA.
Right. That's a lot of how the conversation goes. Which I think like alludes to this idea that the W is this progressive utopia where all the women are always completely, like totally politically aligned. And what I feel like some fans may be missing is that this is just not always the case. And actually there's some precedent for this.
Yeah.
And so I'm gonna take us back again.
Yeah, I feel like I'm getting like a history lesson and a deep dive and
a little bit. Yeah.
Info session all in one.
So enter Candace Wiggins.
Okay.
Let me tell you about her.
Okay, let's hear it.
She was drafted out of Stanford in 2008.
Okay.
Number 3 overall pick, went to Minnesota Lynx. Won the 6th Woman of the Year as a rookie. And a championship with the Lynx in 2011. Trivia question. Who was also on the Lynx in 2011? Goated.
Maya Moore?
Yeah.
Oh,
so she won a championship with Maya Moore.
Oh, and Maya like left the league.
So
for like in pursuit of like this
what we were talking about right now. Like, she started advocating for people who were wrongly incarcerated.
Yeah.
She's like, that's incredible. So she won a championship in 2011 and retired in 2016 after 8 seasons. She was 29. So retired early. She did not have a career-ending injury, anything like that. She opted out of the league. Okay, so on February 20th, 2017, she gives an interview with the San Diego Tribune Union. And as far as I can tell, this is her hometown newspaper, okay?
Yeah.
And it goes like this.
Oh.
This is the expert that kind of made national news.
Okay.
Wiggins, a 4-time All-American at Stanford, asserts she was targeted for harassment from the time she was drafted by Minnesota because she is heterosexual and a nationally popular figure, of whom many other players were jealous.
Oh, okay.
Quote, me being heterosexual and straight and being vocal in my identity as a straight woman was huge, Wiggins said. I would say 98% of the women in the WNBA are gay women. It was a conformist type of place. There was a whole different set of rules they could apply. They being the other players, end quote.
Right.
She also said, quote, people were deliberately trying to hurt me all of the time. The message was, we want you to know we don't like you, end quote.
Yeah, historically targeted and oppressed group, like straight people.
Mm-hmm. And I think, it is fair to say that probably the majority of the league is gay.
A
large percentage. We don't know if it's a majority or not, but to go as far as to say that it was
like
98%, I think is kind of a bit of a stretch.
That's such a stretch, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
98%.
98%.
Okay.
So maybe a bit of an exaggeration.
Okay.
So this went super national.
Yeah. They went platinum.
I remember seeing Brianna Stewart go on ESPN to address this. This was before she was married to a woman, and was talking about her experience in the league. And there were a lot of players, for the first time in like a year or so, like they were asked to be on ESPN to talk about this. You know what I mean? It's like they never talk about women's basketball, and then all of a sudden this thing happens and it's happening. Okay.
Yeah.
So she tells the reporter in this interview that she is now training to be a professional beach volleyball player. And says, quote, she touts the sport's camaraderie and its, quote, celebration of women and the female body as feminine, but strong and athletic.
I'm actually speechless.
So, and the reason I'm connecting this to what we previously talked about, especially with the Riley Gaines kind of political content, is this strongly mirrors some of the more conservative talking points we hear about defining what it means to be a woman.
Yeah.
And I think the WNBA in particular inherently subverts that. I mean, to successfully play basketball at this level, you have to be big, or it really helps to be big. 6 foot is the average height. And it really helps to be really muscular. And also, like we were saying, this league is probably majority queer, and it's definitely majority Black, and we know that for a fact. And I just, like, masculine presenting women are a dime a dozen in this league. And so
that's a crazy statement to make.
So there's just an interesting through line there. Okay. Yeah. But I feel like this goes to show that it's possible that, especially before the league exploded, devoted fans of professional women's basketball may have been more politically homogenous than maybe the women in the locker room. Yeah. Like, I don't think we're breaking ground that there are going to be
differences in opinion and political view,
or in a locker room.
Yeah, right. Obviously.
So, I mean, sports have always been about working with people, whether you like them or disagree with them or not, or, and so I did a little more reporting, and I talked to someone in my life who played D1 college sports. Okay. And I asked her about this, and she described it like this. She said, it's hard to be successful as a team if you can't separate who you are on the court and off the court. So compartmentalization. she said differences were heightened as soon as we stepped into the locker room. But anytime we were on the field, we all would have died for each other. But it's something you try to avoid as a team. Mm-hmm. So like when you're socializing, maybe you don't really bring that up. Basically, it's like people don't want to mess with the mojo.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like bigger than the individual.
Exactly.
It's like what a lot of it's like the biggest thing about team sports. It's bigger than you, so you kind of have to put your differences aside for the good of everybody on the team,
right?
Which is like valid.
So she said she watched our first episode, where we outlined some of the Hannah Hidalgo Instagram story drama.
Okay.
And she said, I was saying to myself, I would never put up with that. Mm-hmm. Like if I were in that locker room, I would have. But then she said, then I thought of my own experience and I knew that just wasn't the case.
Yeah. Wow. That's really interesting.
Yeah.
That makes like a lot of sense though.
Mm-hmm.
Like I can totally see that.
Yeah. So I felt like that was important to include because I think after saying all of this, that these athletes are professionals and they're experts at compartmentalizing. And I think it's hard to be successful as an athlete if you're not an expert at compartmentalizing. So my thesis here is that the biggest adjustment has been, in these new years of the league and as it evolves, the biggest adjustment has been, and I think it will continue to be, the fan experience. Mm-hmm. For better or for worse, greater eyes on the league, which is ultimately all of our goal. That's all our goal is to grow the number of eyes on this league, means inching closer and closer to a mainstream experience.
Yeah.
And today in America, mainstream can also be synonymous with confrontation and difference. And we're very divided politically right now.
No, I agree. I also think you're right. Like your point about just when you have a league that's growing, like it's almost, I mean, what we were talking about with the social media, like Peyton and Reagan social media, like obviously like personally, like abhor, but it does like, I think reflect this greater like draw towards women's basketball, that it's there is all this conversation around it. And obviously, like the more eyes there are, the more criticism there is, like for all players. So it's not like it's not a positive thing, but it's not like it's just like a weird.
It's something
like pros and cons. It's just like
it's something that we're all.
concept.
I think a lot of longtime fans are like learning to wrestle
juggle,
with,
yeah.
Juggle. It's like how. At the end of the day, like their job is to play basketball.
Yeah, and other leagues, like other professional, like bigger leagues, like
is more used to.
Yeah, like they have to adjust.
It's not common for every single player in the NFL to wear Arrest the Cops That Killed Breonna Taylor shirts.
No, not at all.
Like, and also like it's the number of eyes on the league. It's also the number of players in the league. Like when that was happening, there were 12 roster spots per team and 12 teams. That's like not a lot of players.
No. 144. That's some quick math for you.
Wow.
Yeah.
Lucy!
It's like wrong. No, I'm pretty
You're
sure
like,
right.
wait, what? So yeah, I thought this was an interesting case study. And I wanted to talk about it.
It's also just interesting because like we're just like at the very beginning too. Like
exactly.
It's just gonna get bigger, and this like issue is one that more and more people are gonna have to like learn how to talk about, and how do you talk about it in a way that's like constructive, while also like not maybe like sacrificing your beliefs and what you think is right, especially when some of the things being talked about are so
personal to so many of these
and
players.
Like personal and just can be super hurtful. Like, but yeah, it's like just a conversation that I think people have to be ready to have more and more and more.
I agree.
Yeah. Wow.
All right.
Wow. Thanks for that deep dive, though. You had like, I don't know, like
Closing the laptop.
Closing the laptop. 5 pages of just notes.
Yeah.
Sydney was locked in for all of our benefit.
Thank you. Well, you know, I enjoy this stuff. I think it's interesting.
It is interesting. And I feel like I learned a lot from you.
Yay, I'm so glad. Okay, good. Okay, well, that's our episode.
That's our episode for this
So
week.
thanks for watching our special episode this week, everyone.
We'll be back
We're going to be back with more regularly scheduled programming. Catherine's going to be back.
Catherine will be back.
Thank God.
She'll be back. And we'll be back in the other location. So
Yeah, it's going to be
say
prettier.
goodbye.
All right, wrap it up. Thank you.
Bye.
Goodbye.